Hello, in this video I'm going to help you speed up your workflows and save you time. My name's Mr. Noonan and I'm a digital learning leader. I've been helping educators across Australia for the last 16 years, and in this video I'm going to help you with these PowerPoint shortcuts. Alright, let's have a look at these time-saving shortcuts in PowerPoint. First of all, let's look at the ribbon shortcuts. To access the ribbon shortcuts, you press Alt on your keyboard. You'll notice that there's these key shortcuts to the different ribbons in our PowerPoint that we can get to nice and quickly. For instance, if we would like to insert a shape, we can go to Insert with N, look at shapes with the SH, then use the arrow keys to go across and select the square. Press Enter when you're ready, and it enters it into your PowerPoint. Next, let's have a look at the Quick Access toolbar. The Quick Access toolbar is these buttons at the top left-hand side of the screen. By default, you usually find the Present, the Autosave, the Undo, and the Redo buttons. You'll notice that my Quick Access toolbar has buttons for aligning, arranging, adding shapes, changing colors, merging shapes, and some side panels. To add a button to the Quick Access toolbar, all we need to do is right-click on the button we'd like to add, press Add to Quick Access toolbar, and you'll notice that the button is added to the Quick Access toolbar. To move it into the position you'd like, right-click the Quick Access toolbar, go to Customize Quick Access toolbar. On the right-hand side, you'll see all of our buttons. I'm going to click on Insert Icons, and then press the arrow key up to move it up into position I would like it to add to. This is important because when we use the ribbon shortcuts, if I press Alt, you'll notice that the Quick Access toolbar has numbers indicated for the different positions in the Quick Access toolbar. So for instance, now if I'd like to add a shape, I can press 3, move across to the circle this time, press Enter, and it adds it into my slide. Next, let's look at the Select shortcuts. Before I do that, I'm going to make my screen bigger so you can see what I'm doing without going into Present mode. In order to do that, we can hold down Shift and Control, click on the Normal button down the bottom of our PowerPoint, and you'll notice that the thumbnails disappear. We can also move our top ribbon by going up next to our Minimize button, clicking on Auto Hide Ribbon, and now you go into full screen without being in Present mode. You can edit what's on the screen. To start off with our Select shortcuts, Tab will make sure that we can select the different items on our slide. If I press Tab again, it just goes along to the next item, and the next item would be the line which is locked, so you can't see that it's actually highlighting that line. Press it again, and you'll see it goes back to the header to select it. If we press Shift Tab, it will go back into our selection. Tab to go forward, Shift Tab to go backwards. You can press Escape to exit all of your selections. I'm going to use the Alt 3 to add a shape, go across to the square, and if you'd like to enter into the selection to start typing, we can just hit the Enter key. So I clicked Enter, start typing my text, press the Escape key to go out. You can also highlight different items together if you'd like to move them at the same time. Instead of using the lasso key, we can use Shift or Control, press on the object. You'll notice that it selects multiple objects at the same time. I'll press Escape. You can also press Control A to highlight everything that's in your slide if you like to manipulate all the objects at the same time. Press Escape to exit the selections, and then now I can use the arrow keys to go to my next slide without seeing my thumbnails. The next shortcuts to look at are the copy shortcuts. Obviously, there's the Control-C and Control-V to copy anything like usual, but we also have different options here in PowerPoint. I'm going to use my Alt shortcuts again, press 3 to add my shape, go across to the square again, and enter the square into my design. You'll notice that the first shortcut is Control and Drag. So what happens when we press the Control key and drag, you'll notice that it copies the shape, and I can move it to where I'd like to in my design. Alternatively, if we press Control and Shift at the same time while we drag, it also copies the shapes, but you'll notice that it keeps them in alignment. I can go vertical alignment or horizontal alignment. The next shortcut is the copy format shortcut. I'm going to change my square. I'm going to use my Alt ribbon key again, and this time 4 to change the color. Use the arrow keys to go across to the orange, press enter, and now this is orange. What I can do is press Ctrl-Shift-C to copy the formatting, click on what I'd like to also have that formatting, and press Ctrl-Shift-V. Ctrl-Shift-V again, and you'll notice that it changes the formatting of those colors. The next shortcut is the Ctrl-Y to redo. What that means is if we press Ctrl and drag to drag our shape, and then now this time press Ctrl-Y, you'll notice that it doesn't just copy the shape, but also copies the position that you moved it into. This is really good to do multiple objects in alignment and set spacing. If I press Ctrl-Y 2 more times, you'll see that it has the set spacing. If I highlight all of those, click Ctrl-Shift to drag to the right, you'll see there's good spacing. Press Ctrl-Y 2 more times, and this is an easy way to make a grid. We can also use Ctrl-D, if I highlight this square, to just duplicate the shapes and move them where we'd like them. You notice when I press Ctrl-D again, it also kept the alignment to the position that I moved the previous one, similar to the way Ctrl-Y worked. I'll press Escape to go out of all selections, press the down arrow key, and let's look at our next shortcuts. These are our manipulating object shortcuts. In order to manipulate the objects, I'm going to go Alt 3 to add a new shape, press the square, press Alt and then 3 again. Now this time I'm going to add a circle. I now have 2 shapes in order to show you the shortcuts for the manipulating objects. The first one is simply if we select the shape using the Tab key, so we can use the arrow keys to move it around the screen. If we press Ctrl and the arrows, you'll see there's much smaller movements to get more precise with its position. Next, if we use Shift in the arrow keys, you'll see that it changes the scale of our shapes. If we press Alt and arrows at the same time, you can see it also rotates our shape. We also have shortcuts to change the layers of the objects as well to move them forwards and backwards. I'm going to press Alt and then 4 to change the color of this circle so we can see nice and clearly. If we press Ctrl Shift and then inside bracket, it's going to move it backwards into our layers. If we press Ctrl Shift forward brackets, it's going to move it forward into our layers and bring it in front of the shape this time. We can also group objects with shortcuts. So if I press Shift and left click and then Shift and then left click, I've got 2 objects selected. If I now press Ctrl G, I group those objects and move them as one. If I press Ctrl Shift G, that ungroups the objects to manipulate them separate from each other. Press Escape and then the down arrow key. Let's look at our text shortcuts. I'm going to press Alt and then 3 to add a shape again. I'm going to use my Shift arrow keys to make this bigger. And then I can press the Enter key to start typing my text. To make my text bigger, I'm going to press Escape, and now I can press Ctrl Shift and the greater than button, and my text will grow bigger. If I press Ctrl Shift and the less than button, my text will get smaller. I'm going to press Enter again, and now to create a hyperlink, I can press Ctrl K and then add in my address that I'd like to hyperlink to. Now I have a hyperlink. I'm going to press Ctrl Z to undo my hyperlink, and I also have shortcuts to align my text. I'm going to press Escape again. Now I'm going to press Ctrl L to align it to the left, Ctrl R to align it to the right, and Ctrl E to center align it. If I press Ctrl B, I can make my text bold, Ctrl I to add italics, Ctrl U to add an underline. To show you the next two shortcuts, I'm going to show you a little trick where I can add text to my document without me typing it. I'm going to press enter to enter into my text. Write down equals rand with 2 parentheses. This means it's going to add random text. Inside the parentheses, I'm going to add 1 for 1 paragraph. I'll go back to the end of the parenthesis, press enter, and you notice that it's added text. I'm going to make my shape bigger so you can see the text, and there's my sentence that it added. Now the next shortcut, if I go into my design, I can go to the start without actually using my mouse. If I press Control and then the Home key, you'll notice that it's here at the top. And if I press Control and the End key, it goes here to the end of my text. Press Escape to go out, press down to the next slide, and now let's look at some slide shortcuts. To do this, I'm going to bring my thumbnails back. I'm going to go to the top right-hand side where I hid my ribbon earlier, and I'm going to go Show Tabs and Commands. Now I can go down the bottom to my normal, and my thumbnails are back. You can move your thumbnails inside of the thumbnail area by just holding Control and the arrow keys to change its position. If you'd like a new slide, you can press Enter to add a new slide. If you'd like to duplicate the slide that you already have, you can press Control D or Control Shift D to duplicate the slides. And inside our slide, we can use the Control plus the zoom wheel to zoom in and out of our slides easily. One last shortcut for you. If you'd like to look at your presentation and still have your presentation in the background while you're working on it, down the bottom right-hand side, we can look at our current slide if we press this button. If I hold Alt and press the button though, I can come to a mini slide presentation to see my different animations and transitions and what they look like in presentation mode before I actually commit to looking at my slides. I'm going to press Escape to go out of that. Hopefully you found some of these shortcuts useful. If you did find them useful, make sure you share them with your colleagues so I can help as many teachers as I can increase their speed and efficiency with PowerPoint.